If you're a young person or student, then there's a good chance this scenario sounds pretty familiar to you. You wake up at around 10 a.m. to that horrible alarm sound that just rattles you to your core. You're trying to gather your thoughts and work out what's going on, but you're suddenly overcome with this tiredness. It literally feels like your bed is calling you, and the warmth and softness of your sheets just feel magical. And that one rational part of your brain that's telling you there's work to be done is suddenly fighting a losing battle against the rest of your body, and your hand just has a mind of its own. It's already snoozing your alarm. The last few thoughts telling you to get up fizzle out as your eyes close. You awaken sometime later to find that you still feel as tired and groggy as you did at 10 a.m. Only now it's 3 p.m. Trust me when I say this was me pretty much every day at the age of 18 and 19. And even though deep down we know that's no way to live, this is the reality for most men of that age. But fear not, because today I've got a practical guide for unfucking your sleep schedule. I'm going to be laying it out for you step by step on how you can break that cycle and press the reset button on your sleep habits. I'm not going to give out all this typical advice like stay off your phone before bed or stop drinking coffee, because you've heard that a million times. And to be honest, if you have one of those blue light filters on your devices and you put it on like the max setting before you go to bed, then that doesn't really become a problem anymore. We'll call that one unofficial step one. Now, the most important thing when it comes to forming habits around sleep is consistency. And I did mention this earlier in the week on the video I made about testosterone, because sleep is also very important for replenishing that hormone. The consistency of your sleep, so keeping the times that you go to bed and wake up roughly similar each day, is actually way more important than the amount of hours you sleep for. You could be sleeping like 9 hours every night, but if you're turning your light off at a different time each night, then obviously you're going to feel like shit in the morning. That's because our body has an internal clock that causes us to want to go to bed and wake up at roughly the same time each day. But that's often disrupted by a lot of external factors like the amount of light we're exposed to in the day, and also us just forcing ourselves to stay up late. When we don't have that good, consistent sleep schedule, we never feel well rested because our body is constantly adapting. So the number one thing you can do is create a good schedule, pair that with a bedtime routine, and after a few days, your sleep quality will drastically improve. Second to that, though it's not as important as the consistency, the amount of hours is also something that we should be taking into consideration. You need to be getting a minimum of 7 hours sleep a night, preferably even 8 or 9. Otherwise, you're just tanking your health and performance. The big mistake people make is this. Say one evening I wanted to sleep for 8 hours. What the old me would have done is go to bed at 11 and try and wake up at 7. That is wrong because you haven't factored in the time it takes you to fall asleep. And some people are blessed with the ability to just fall asleep as soon as their head hits the pillow, but I'm not one of those people. Sometimes it can take me like an hour and a half. So to correct that, if I was still trying to wake up at 7, I would have to go to bed at 9:30 instead. To get better quality of sleep, there are things we can do to optimize our environment, mainly making our room colder and darker. Another big one is mouth breathing, which might not make a lot of sense. A lot of us are hardwired to breathe through our mouths, but in terms of your health, this is the wrong thing to do. We should actually be almost exclusively breathing through our noses, unless it's during activities like running. Mouth breathing is scientifically known to diminish sleep quality and make you more likely to develop sleep disorders like sleep apnea. So stop fucking doing it. So we're getting to the end here. What if I don't feel tired, you might ask? I've told you about all these things you can do, but what if your body just doesn't feel like sleeping? And that is a valid question. Obviously, if you're in the process of resetting your sleep schedule, then it will take a few days for that to adjust, but there are things you can be doing in the meantime that will help improve it. Exposing yourself to natural sunlight first thing in the morning does go a long way towards making your body feel awake and tired at the appropriate times. Exercising in the day will naturally make you feel more tired when it comes to bed. Some people swear by magnesium and zinc supplements, but I found on the days that I took those, I actually felt more awake and more restless. What I found works is chamomile tea, because that induces a relaxed state, which is obviously going to help you feel more sleepy. But drink it like 2 hours before bed at the latest, because otherwise you're going to be up all night pissing. Also, it's going to sound cliche, but I find reading a book before bed definitely does help me feel more tired, and preferably make it a fiction one, because what I find is when I read a business type book before bed, I start getting fired up with all these ideas, my brain starts becoming a bit more active, and then I can't get to sleep. Now the final thing it's going to take is discipline. And this is less an aspect of sleeping better, It's more an aspect of being a strong and capable man. It's going to take a bit of work on your end. You're going to have to make a few sacrifices, whether that's to your social life or watching Netflix right before bed. I've accepted that on a night out, I'm usually the first of my friends who has to go home, but that sacrifice has allowed me to focus on my YouTube and fitness goals. So, my Iron Men, I challenge you to put some of these to the test. I know that all these average guys tell you that it's okay to be staying out late, fucking around, drinking and doing drugs. This is not the place for average guys. I can tell you're here because you've had enough of being a loser, and I want to help you reach your potential. If you're new around here and you like the video, you might as well subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with more videos on things like fitness, leveling up your social skills and your dating life, and breaking down the issues affecting modern men. So go ahead and try these tips. I guarantee you're going to be sleeping like a baby.